Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about my day 5 update for the Kinetic Fusillade Hierophant. Now, over the last 2 days, I've been farming pretty hard the strat that I put out the other day, the boss rush, farming non-stop basically over on twitch.tv/Palsteron. In this video, I want to go over the upgrades that I've done since then to get my damage up a little bit and get my energy shield up. We're now at a point in the build where it's like kind of min-maxing time, so you're just kind of pulling very small levers at this point because we're not a stacker, right? Like stackers go exponential and they go into crazy territory, but this build has kind of run out its use case, which is get to 30-40 million DPS comfortably with a decent Aegis setup, right? Have comfortable defenses. That is kind of where it edges out. And we're also going to talk about it at the end. If you want to keep playing the build and you haven't already respect, or you're not planning to go into a different second build, also what could you possibly do with this build in the future. Now, as for the POB, you can see that I went from 22 million to 32 million, and I've also got a sizable increase in defenses. So my energy shield pool is a lot higher, which is nice against one-shots for sure. The Aegis didn't get too much better. I'm still sitting around about 60k armor. This is with flasks up, just to be clear. Now, other than that, if you are importing something in POB, right now your imbue is gone, so you have to put that as a level 1 as your last support. And make sure you have everything ticked from bleeding to poisoned. If you have the tattoos, ignite, shield, shock. On shock, you probably want to put like a 5. Okay, I'm on 33.7. And then make sure these things are ticked. Other than that, I guess projectile traveling through flame wall, or if you just want to see what your clear damage is, then without flame wall. Now let's first talk about reasonable upgrades, and then let's talk about a little bit more expensive and aspirational stuff. First up, I recrafted my helmet and boots into Armour ES, and that is important for a few reasons. First up, they were outdated, pretty weak. Now I have good ones. I know the accuracy craft seems a little bit goofy, but we'll go into that later. So the idea is this. This mastery is kind of broken. 100% increased armor and energy shield from equipped body armor if equipped, if all of them match armor energy shield. So that was not the case for me. So you want armor energy shield, all of these have to match. And if you look at how good the mastery actually is, then look no further than my ES bar right now. I go from 2.7 to 2.1k if I just unspec this, and my armor also goes down. I also get the extra armor. Now, that is with a quite bad body armor. This is still the body armor I've been wearing on day 2, so I have not upgraded that yet, and I don't know if I will because I already feel very safe, but that is another thing you could do. So that's the first part, and it's pretty damn easy to fix. Now, when it comes to acquiring these, it really depends on what's on the market. Kinetic Fusillade is super meta. Armor, energy shield is pretty meta. So there's a good chance you should just be buying one, like all of them, most likely, because people are re-rolling into new characters. They're selling their hand-me-downs, right? So that's probably the most efficient way. But otherwise, I'll give you some instructions here. And the reason I don't give you an exact recipe is that I don't want you to hyper-focus on that and then spend extra money that you do not have to, because there's a million ways to get where you want to get. But I will separate this into body armored helmet, and then the number 2 is gloves and boots. Now, body armor and helmet are different because they have intrinsically way more energy shield and armor baseline, which makes it super important that you hit all those armor, energy shield percentages and flat. And to get that, the best way is dense fossils. Dense fossils are completely, utterly ridiculous, and that's why they are so expensive. Every hit is going to be 8 chaos or 9 chaos, 10 chaos, whatever they're going to go up to, right? They're really, really strong. And what they do is they give you more defense modifiers, no life modifiers. Now, you do like life modifiers, but not really on those pieces, right? So you just want full defensive modifiers on both your helmet and your body armor. If you have a fracture, most likely it's nice that you get a suffix fracture, because the dense fossil is already going to make the prefixes ready for you, because prefixes are the defense modifiers, and then suffixes are stuff like physical damage reduction or resistances. And honestly, after that, you just go for whatever. So I'll give you an example. I literally just spammed dense fossils on this helmet base. I got high quality. That's what you want. That's a multiplier to your armored energy shield. If you can get over 20%, that's super good. Divine Crown is the best helmet base. And you see here in the prefix, I got tier 2, tier 2, tier 1, which is pretty decent. I could have kept going, but that was good enough for me. And then I also hit the strength, so I was like, oh, let's block something and slam, and I hit regen. So I screwed up. Now, what you can do, as always, if you want to make this helmet better, is you can do prefixes cannot be changed, scour, and then try to multi-mod, or try to slam, or try to Eldritch Craft. For the body armor, it's very similar, although do note that you can get physical damage reduction in the suffix, so you can do stuff like, let's, for example, say you roll and you get your prefixes first, and then you can do prefixes cannot be changed with Reforge Physical. and that will give you physical damage reduction, which is super, super strong. Now, instead of Reforge on Harvest and Prefix cannot be changed, you can also go for a Veiled Chaos Orb. They're quite inexpensive. I don't think it's worth putting Veiled Exalted Orbs on any of these gear pieces. As for gloves and boots, they have intrinsically a little bit less Armored Energy Shield, plus on the boots, your Prefix is going to be filled with the movement speed that you want. So that means it already blocks a little bit of Energy Shield and armor. So here it can focus a little bit on life. And for people who are asking, can you go CI? Of course you can. It's just a little bit of a problem with recovery. So you would probably go for stuff like Divine Shield, and then you would have to get some regen with Zealot's Oath. Otherwise, it's going to feel really janky. So for example, on the boots here, I start with a Fractured Life, and then I want to do suffixes first. So I have one prefix locked in, and now I want to do the suffixes first. And I want to lock in a suffix with an essence. So here I go for Chaos Res, which is going to be the Deafening Essence of Envy. That gives you a ton of Chaos Res, and these crafts are really where you're going to get most of your Chaos Res from. Same from gloves and even from helmet if you want to. We're going to spam it into 2 other good suffixes, and do remember that Exalted Orbs this patch are super, super cheap and nulls are not. So if you have an open slot, always slam. They cost absolutely nothing. And this is also how I made these boots, just randomly spamming over and over and just trying, right? Like the life regen rate is not that great. Another like resistance would have also done, but it was decent enough for me to keep, and I'm already capped. So there you go. Now, let's say you have these boots, right? I have the life, and then I have the 3 suffixes, but I don't have the movement speed yet. The easiest way to make this is by using first a Wild Bristle Matron. So what this does is it gives you a meta modifier, and the only meta modifier that you can get in the prefix is suffixes cannot be changed. So it's basically a cheaper way. You don't spend 2 divines, but after that, you're going to go for a Veiled Chaos Orb. And if you don't know, Veiled Chaos Orb gives you a Veiled modifier, and it is almost guaranteed to give you movement speed. You can also block. So for example, block mana, then reveal, and you're going to get 1 of 3 movement speeds. The GG here would have been movement speed cannot be chilled hybrid. That is absolutely insane. I got the movement speed with movement speed out of combat, basically. And then I just, at the end, I just craft an Armored Energy Shield. Done. The gloves would be really similar. Don't get distracted. I actually just bought these straight up a while ago because I got them for really cheap, but it would be almost exactly the same with the life roll, either life roll or Armored Energy Shield Fracture, depending on what you want to do. Do note that your stun threshold goes up with your life going up. So if it feels a little bit sluggish, you don't want to be sitting on like 2.5k life or something like that. So it's still very much matters. And yes, you do have Soul of the Brine King, but still. As for how I crafted the ring, it is very similar to how I crafted the boots. First suffixes, and then in the prefix, I have a Veiled modifier with a Veiled Chaos Orb. Don't mind the cold damage. That was an accident. It is the same as if I'd crafted it. It's almost the same value. It just filled, so I didn't have the craft open, and I didn't want to risk the item, so that's all there is to it. Now, next upgrade is I got a Medium Cluster. Why Medium Cluster? Because of Sleepless Sentries. It gives you Onslaught, 20% attack and cast speed, and also 20% movement speed. It is a feels good. It's mandatory. It's so goddamn good. I should have probably gotten it earlier, but they were quite expensive early on. I didn't want to craft, whatever. Okay, so if you want to get a second node, Snaring Spirits is very strong. It might still be better to get something like Ancestral Rage, anything that gives you placement speed, attack speed, damage. Make sure that your attack speed still lines up, because with this respec that I'm about to show you, you're going to get a lot of attack speed, right? So Totems hinder, and that's like 30% reduced movement speed, which is a nice defensive boon, but just be clear that you have the Sleepless Sentries plus something else that's usable. Now, how do you make space for these 4 nodes? Well, you respec out of Shaman's Dominion. You can see 1, 2, 3 points to even get here, and then, So we do lose the Totem Mastery, which is super important. It's the 5% damage taken from totems, because this, honestly, this mastery is just too nice. And sure, you could say it's not needed with that much placement speed, but while clearing, it gives me less clicks. It's just comfy. So you need to spec out of all this, and this actually gives you 8 points. So technically, you could get a second medium cluster. However, after deliberation, I went for Totemic Zeal instead. It gives you very similar stats to what a second totem cluster would give you, but it also gives you back the mastery. And roundabout what you're going to get from this exchange is you're going to stay at exactly the same damage, about the same damage, maybe a tiny bit less, but you get 20% movement speed. Your totems are going to shoot way faster and going to be way more snappy, and you get a ton of placement speed. After that, get a better Corrupted Blood Jewel, or if you don't have a Corrupted Blood Jewel at all, then it's about damn time. Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you. You can get some absolute crazy, I got this one for 2 divines, some crazy Corrupted Blood immune jewels. because they're getting spat out by the Strongbox strat with the corrupted jewels. So yeah, absolutely crazy. Another thing you can do, and that I did once you have enough damage that you feel super comfortable, is respec the charge mastery. So we're shock immune, we're freeze immune, we're semi-chill immune, we have like some chill reduction, but we have nothing against ignite. So sometimes it can be annoying. If you feel like it isn't, just leave it off. But dots in general, the less dots the better for our energy shield pool, because dots do not get negated by Aegis. So I just went and respec. I lost like 5% of my damage, but I'm now ignite immune. But this is more of a luxury thing to do. Now let's talk about some of the more expensive upgrades that I did, starting with the Dusk Ring. If you've never seen a Dusk Ring, they're a very rare occurrence in the Reflecting Mist, and they're worth quite a bit. So if you get them from the Reflecting Mist, you just won, right? So I'll quickly explain. So Time Clasp is what you might be running, or you might not be running at all. But if you're Yoke, most likely you're going to be running a Time Clasp with as much reduced skill effect duration as possible. This ring's pretty decent. It has a little bit of attack speed, unaffected by temp chains, but it doesn't really have much else going on. Dusk Ring does very similar things. It has in the implicit, if you have it in your left ring slot, reduced skill effect duration. It's 15 instead of 20, but that is still more than enough. Now you can see these drop mirrored, but you can also go here and say not mirrored and just check in. And you can see there is options out there that are not mirrored that you can just straight up craft and get as many good mods as you want on them. So you can fill out Chaos Race, you can get flat damage, you can get whatever the hell you want. So this is one of the more expensive upgrades. The way you make these is you have to vendor 5 mirrored ones, then you get a normal one, and then what you can do is you can split it 3 times with a beast. There's a beast that splits it 3 times, so that's why it's not 5 times the cost of a mirrored one. Do not get scammed on that. So these are split. Now, usually what you would do on a ring like this is you would fracture it, but that would completely go crazy in terms of investment. So I'm going to show you how you can make a decent ring unfractured. So if you get the ring, all you need to do, you do not need the influence. The influence is way later, and I'll show you why. What you do here is you spam Torment. Was it Torment? I think it was Torment. The one that gives flat lightning on rings. Yeah, Torment. So you spam Torment, and on jewelry, it gives you flat lightning damage, which is a really good life modifier. So it already locks that in. After that, you just trying to roll and roll and roll for 2 decent prefixes. So in my case, I got that tier 1 life and I said, okay, I only have tier 5 fire damage, but that's fine. So I have my 3 prefixes sorted out. And then what you do is you go prefixes cannot be changed. And once again, we do the Veiled Chaos Orb. And now you get a Veiled modifier. And the second suffix, you're going to have to slam on. And here is where you can either slam with an Exalted Orb, which is normal, which is very, very random. You can use a Foulborn Exalted Orb, which is very expensive, but it guarantees a higher tier modifier. Or, since this ring is not fractured, you can actually go for one of the Influenced Exalted Orbs. And turns out that the best one here is Elder's Exalted Orb. So you can look at the influences right here, and Shaper has a few mods that are okay. Reduced effect of curses would be cute, right? But Elder has only 1 brick, which is Herald of Ashes, has very low weighting. Both accuracy and crit multi you can somehow make use of, and that's the name of the game, right? You can always shuffle stats around, but somehow make use of it. Crit multi is the best one, which is what I hit. I got pretty lucky here. But accuracy is also very usable. For example, let's say I hit accuracy, I could spec out of these 2 nodes and do other things with it. For example, get retribution and the life node. However, if you need resistances, I would honestly just slam. And always know that you can just reforge again. So on my Veiled Chaos Orb, for example, I got Strength and Intelligence, which I can use. But if you get something completely trash, you can just go prefix cannot be changed and Veiled Chaos Orb again. Now, the next expensive upgrade is a Watcher's Eye, and this one gave me around about 13 to 14% more damage, and I got attack damage while I have precision and crit multi with anger. Crit multi with anger is the GG mod. If you just get crit multi with anger, most likely it's already going to be better than any jewel you have. And if you get something else on top, that's great. Looking at your auras, you're eligible for anything but Tempest Shield. It doesn't have Watcher's Eye mods. Determ, Anger, Precision. Now, the best mod is the crit multi. Once again, if you respec out of these nodes as well, you're going to be missing 20, 40, 60 crit multi. So getting some of that back is going to be a big deal. If you can just get a 1 mod, that's already decent. And then on top of that, if you can get any of these mods, you're going to be happy. Some of these are going to be ultra expensive, just, you know, precision multi, precision attack speed, precision attack damage, because they fit into basically everything. Combined with anger crit multi are going to be super expensive. But then you can also have some other ones like determination with reduced crit damage, determination with +2 armor, or Determination with percentage block chance. Most of the other anger mods are mostly shit. And last but not least, a Lethal Pride. You can also go for a Brutal Restraint if you can use the Dexterity well and you have a decent spot. This is always like experimental. You're not going to get exactly the one I have. You're going to have to search it up for yourself. I'll show you how in a second. But yeah, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if Light of Divinity is something, also 6 notables in this radius, which you take anyways, so it's a really good spot. Now, this did used to be your Light of Meaning spot, which is now going to be here, or you can transfer it over here if you can find the points. I'm not really sure where, but maybe you unspec this, but this cluster is just so broken. I digress. On the Lethal Pride, we have 6 notables that can hit it, that you take anyways. And let's see how you can find them. Now in PoB, you go find Timeless Jewels as always. You select Lethal Pride. You go conquer any. These don't really matter. Jewel Socket, you will select this one right here, the Agnostic. Filter Nodes, yes. And then you go for double damage. This is your most important one. On your Lethal Pride, before it's even worth buying one, you want at least 2 of them. Now make sure that you have everything selected so you can actually select from all of these because you have it filtered. So let's do that again, boom. And you can see there's a ton of them that have free of this mod. You can also add stuff like totem damage, which is quite strong. The placement speed is kind of weak, it's only 12%. You can go for extra life, extra, I don't know, resistances, if you can get those into the build, whatever you want. But you want to have at least 2 rolls, and you can see there's a ton of them with 2 times double damage in that region. Percentage armor is actually also quite strong, which is, I think is 20%. So you can also look for this, and now you can see here, double damage, 3, 0, and then 1 armor. This is, I'm pretty sure, the one that I have. And then you can just go down the list and search. Now, if you, let's for example, say you only want to go for the 2 ones here, you can do copy trade URL, and now you just have to import it into your browser, and it's going to automatically search for these 4. And if you click it again, it searches for the next one because it assumes you didn't get any of these. And you just have to go on and on and on. And it's a little bit of a procedure, but in general, Lethal Pride is worth it. But if you really need to upgrade something, put everything into Mageblood. Mageblood is still the best belt, even with some of the shrines. Resistance Shrine is extremely strong on the new belt, but losing the movement speed might feel awkward. So you can try that out. You can try out Resistance Shrine. You can try out Mageblood. I think Mageblood is going to be absolutely fantastic, though. Now, here's the issue, though. This build has now kind of run its course because in PoE, if you don't know, builds that aren't really stackers, they just flatten out at some point. You just have that much increased damage to get attack speed, to get crit multi. You're really looking for something that scales exponentially. It has a lot of multipliers in one stat, and that can use stuff like Simplex Emmys and Helical Rings really well. And 2 of those archetypes you could, for example, play on this build if you don't want to respec into something else and you want to stay with this, is you could go Mana Stacker or you could go Strength Stacker. And these are just completely different builds, but one scales Strength and flat damage with Replica Alberons, Chaos damage based, and the other one goes, the mana route is going to be a little bit more tanky and is going to have Whispers of Infinity for its flat damage. And yes, I could give you some small upgrades from where I am right now, but I'm not going to do them because I don't think they're worth it. We're talking like 30 Divines for an extra 5% damage, and I just can't in good conscience tell you to do that. So at that point, I would probably look into getting a new set of gear or starting to farm up for your transition. And otherwise, there's stuff like Energy Blade, Mana Casters, right? Like pick your, like on Templar, you're going to be having a good time this patch regardless. But that's about all I got for today, and this is going to be the final update for the build, kind of rounding everything out. This is as far as I would personally take the build for what it is, which is a League starter. And yeah, if you want to go further, definitely look into stuff like Mana Stacker, Strength Stacker, and I'm sure there's going to be other things that I haven't even considered that are Mirage based. If you have a trouble with currency, definitely check out my last video where I go over the boss rush. It is a incredible farm that does not really rely on any particular scarabs, although you can use them. And yeah, from here on out, if you have never been on the channel, I kind of go rogue. I go a little bit crazier with the currency investment on the next coming build. It's not going to be as easy to follow, but that's just what I have to do kind of to keep the fun, because week 1 or like the first 5 days is kind of for other people, right? Like kind of trying to get a smooth progression, but then after that, I want to go and have some fun. So we're going to do that, and next video, just going to be a hint, is going to be very fun. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys had a good league start, and we'll see you with other content. And since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.